Hello, Rachel.
Hi,
So,
Rachel.
sorry for the confusion earlier. I had a look and thought, I can't see how to get in.
Oh, has it come off the thing again?
No, it was there.
Oh, okay, fine.
I just didn't look properly, I think.
Oh, don't worry.
I think
I
I was
can't see
expecting
it on mine.
No, well, I think I was expecting it in the description and it wasn't, but there is a join button.
Ah,
Ah,
is there?
So I thought, I can't see a link there.
Ah, I can't see it on the join. Where's the join button? Well
It is
done.
there.
Is it? Oh, look at these
Oh, not
guys.
jealous.
Yes. That's
There is
very
not a
cool.
glass of wine and a pina colada behind the screens.
ah,
There really isn't.
Just a jug of Pimm's.
yeah.
Hymns, that'd be lovely.
Do you know
Ugh,
what? Pimm's is so good in the sun. I'm not normally a
ugh.
sweet drink person, but when we went to the cricket, the 100 last year at Edgbaston, they were doing these pints of, and this is recorded, isn't it? It's terrible. Pints of Pimm's.
I can
It's just
pause the recording if you want me
like
to.
squash. Beth, what do you like? What's your summer drink?
Well, I'd go for the Pims. That sounds
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Abby and Noelle don't have the link to get in.
Okay.
They're just
It
asking.
should be in the meet. It's in the meeting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
It's
it
funny.
literally is in the calendar.
They have the link, but they can't find it. Let's say.
Okay.
Sarcastically, open Outlook, find calendar appointment, click join.
I will.
They might be on their Google Calendar because I can't see it on my Google Calendar.
This is actually wrong, isn't
It
it?
was in my Teams thing, but
I could.
like I said, I emailed you to say I haven't got it, and then when I looked at the thing, I could see a join button.
Which is good. There's a join button that'll work in the meeting rooms now.
I will just.
Thanks,
Did you
Claire.
say Noel and Abby?
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you want me
Stuart's
just
not
do you want me to
come.
send my link to the email
No,
group?
I can. I've got
So,
it on here.
Okay,
first pint of beer.
well done.
It's lush. Not the second, just the first.
The first one.
Refreshing.
But does it go down too quickly though? That's the problem,
Yeah,
isn't
of
it?
course it does.
Just inhale it.
That's why the Lord invented a beer pump.
What kind of beer? Are you an IPA man or are you a
Oh,
lager
that is a
guy?
question. If I had to pick, I'd mostly pick Doombar. It's an ale.
Oh,
I know it.
Yeah.
What you don't like the new fresh IPAs?
Wow. I'd mostly go with like the new fancy dancy stuff. Brewdog, Elvis juice.
Oh, you like the Elvis
Yeah,
juice?
I do.
I like a hazy Jane.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Talking about beer, Abby.
Oh, lovely.
Not that we have
Rachel.
any, we're just talking about it.
Yeah, look, because they're in the garden.
it's out of shot.
Shots as well. Golly,
Yeah.
this has progressed. Rachel, what's your summer drink of choice?
Um, well, gluten-free lager.
Oh, look at you. That's so very, very cool. Amazing. Not matcha tea then. Abby?
No.
I don't know. I love a Pims and I love a Prosecco.
Beth, you and Beth. I think that courtyard, are you in the courtyard in the middle
Yeah.
bit? Oh, well done. It doesn't look like it. It looks like you're in a country house. I think
Mm.
it lends itself, doesn't it, to a Pimm's party. I think we should
Yeah.
if we all mention it to Paul, if we see him around and bump into him, if everyone just keeps dropping the hint, he might think the Lord is talking to him about
Well, we have got
prophetically.
our barbecue coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next week.
Barbecue at the ASG. Have you got an ASG coming up? Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
week, yeah, Wednesday, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice, nice, very
Yeah.
good. The sun always shines through those barbecues, I think. Okay, so we've got a couple more coming in, I think, and then we will kick off with these two tools.
I don't think Guy's coming today. Did he give you his apologies already, Laura?
Claire, have you heard from him?
Haven't, no.
I saw him earlier and I don't think he was able to make it.
Okay.
That's okay. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry about the lack of button, the lack of obvious button in the calendar invitations. We don't know why it keeps dropping off.
I looked in the calendar invite, but I didn't see it. But it's usually there for me, so I don't know why.
Hmm.
I was the same. I had to go to Series Link today and then get it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's get started because we've got two completely different tools. I haven't even tried to map them to each other this time. We've just decided to take each tool on its own merits, but I'm really excited about them. I think they are really revelatory. So I'm going to just pray. Father, we're all tired, it's hot, but I pray this would be a really helpful, beneficial time for everybody on the call and to have breakthrough in some way, either to simplify or to move forward. Amen.
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 Thank you. So let's go first with your first mindset. So we've got two mindsets today as well, and just two separate tools. So Matthew 11, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart. This is Jesus speaking. And you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So that first question today, as you look at your diary, as you look at your projects, as you look at your work, as you look at your life, how easy, how light does it feel? A friend of mine says, if it's not light, it's not right. You know, it's quite a nice phrase. And I think this is very liberating, isn't it? It's a lens through which to put your life is how simple is my life? And if it feels heavy and if it feels as though it's hard in some respect, the yoke feels burdensome on my shoulders, then is there a chance that I'm putting things on that haven't been given to me? If it's not God's expectations on me, then potentially is that my own expectations that I have put onto it myself? So that's the question just to leave in the air for a minute. So as we go into the tool, did you want to go back for that verse there,
Totally
Matt?
fine.
No, I've come back. Go, go, go. Always love a Bible capture. There we go. It's such a
Yeah,
lovely phrase, isn't it?
that's a
So we're
nice
thinking
one.
today, how simple. So that just takes us to the next tool, the clarity tool. I love the name of this tool. Are our plans simple? For one, are they easy to understand? Have we overcomplicated our plans? Or is there a great, easy, simple way that we can explain them? If we can't explain it easily, then it's not simple. So when I first started coaching, a friend of mine said, Laura, I've been on your website and I've still got no idea what you do. So I hadn't made it simple. And then at some point, probably 2 years down the line, was able to come up with two phrases. We do healthy culture and high performance. It's those two things that we do with organizations, which is a bit more simple. Scalable. Are our plans able to grow with us without breaking or changing? Okay, so we have this model, we have this project. Can we roll it out beyond just this one thing in order, and will it keep going? Will it still be robust enough not to break or change, or is it just so fragile and dependent on those circumstances? If so, that is a clue that we've built something that isn't scalable. And then thirdly, sustainable. Are our plans able to be maintained and upheld? So are we able to keep these plans going? Will our aim be fulfilled through the plans that we've made? Have we done enough? Okay, and does it have what it needs? Does it have all the aspects it needs to be able to deliver what it says on the tin? So we put a project in place some time ago with an academy of schools. And when we sat down with them and over a number of meetings, we was talking about running an altitude group, we are talking about various other things. But teachers are so busy that what we decided in the end was what they needed was 3 days across a year, one per term, with a whole load of tools crammed into those 3 days. So one day off site once a term with a whole load of tools, and that felt scalable. So it was simple tick, 3 days. It was scalable tick. We could just roll that out to all of the middle leaders, all of the senior leaders. And as the academy kept growing, more and more schools were coming on saying, we love these 3 days. But the one thing it didn't have was sustainability. Why? Because no one was doing anything between term one and term two. No one was applying the tools. So we put in a catalyst model whereby every site had somebody who would keep the tools going, would bring accountability to those who'd done the course, would offer one-to-one coaching, and would be able to run extra toolkits alongside. And then we found that the work was sustainable and that the work was able to continue and be maintained. So that was a really good way of using this tool, and it really helped us. Claire, over to you. Where does this tool fit for you? Anything to add?
Yeah, so I really loved the concept of hit things over the head with the simple stick. Um, I grew up in a household with one parent, my dad, who would make seemingly everything over complicated. You couldn't just kind of go from A to B. There would be all sorts of complicated side quests on the way. And he'd kind of extended that into my brother and I both having our own families and everybody getting together and three separate households going in one direction or attempting to go in one direction or multiple directions would get really complicated. And so, yeah, I sort of try to just focus on like, it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to get done.
Very good. I love that as well. A friend of mine, just Claire's made me think of this. A friend of mine, it was like talking about hosting people in your house. And he was doing it as a sort of sermon illustration. And he literally had a toaster and a bag of crumpets. He was like, this is how simple hosting can be. Bag of crumpets, toaster. And he literally put them in, popped it down. And it's just that freeing thing, where does hosting feel heavy? Does, like Claire was saying, trying to get people together, does it feel heavy? How can you make things simple so that they are sustainable? So we'll want to do it again. And also so that perhaps, if there was another family that you wanted to add or the grandparents or whatever, it wouldn't be the end of the world because it would be too big, it would become too big. So how can we just simplify our plans? Is this a word in season for you? Have a little feel around. And these are the three things to ask about plans. So have a plan or a project in mind. What was the one you thought about when you did the session in your preparation that you've been able to prepare for? So pick one project and put it through the clarity tool. Is your plan, your project simple? Is it scalable? And is it sustainable? How can it gain more clarity? Which of those three S's does it need? Does it need hitting over the head with a simple stick? I love that. Does it need to be scalable? Does it need to be sustainable? And what is your next step? We're going to do next steps as we go along because we've got 2 breakouts and we've got 2 tools. So what's one thing you can do that can make it more clear, that can help your plan to gain clarity? Which of the 3 S's will you choose? Okay, do you want to take a photo of the breakout questions? Take a screenshot if you'd like to. Okay, so just choose one of the S's, one project, and then think, what is your next step? Okay, any questions? Great, okay, enjoy your breakouts. See you on the other side.
Hello. Laura
Hello.
just stepped away. She will be back momentarily. So who would we like to start with? Abby, would you like to lead us in? Which one did you choose?
I chose the Bible course New Creatives that we're working on at the moment.
Okay.
Shall I go?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It's simple in that the brief is simple. So we're redoing the Bible course creatives because the current ones are, simply put, bad.
Okay.
They don't reflect the product really very well. So we're redoing them to enable people to see what the products are like from the promotional assets and also encourage them to do it, to download the resource and take part in it. It's scalable because what we're doing within the design process is looking at every type of potential promotion area that we could use this creative and developing a version of it for that. So it can be used in audio, video, print, on sizes that need to go on banners, on billboards. Like, we've looked at extreme dimensions so that it can be used across all of those. And sustainable, we are designing it in a way that means we're hoping it doesn't date. So when we're including things like technology, we're including screens and things, but not specific models or sizes. It's going to be kind of variable so that hopefully in 5 years, it still looks relevant and it still looks exciting and new.
Okay. So you've already got your next steps.
Yes.
Super. Noelle.
Well, I was struggling actually to think of one, and then Abby picked like my main project and
Okay.
told me that it was these things, so that's good. But
Okay.
Rooted is a journal that we make, and it is simple. It has quite a simple objective, which is well, two objectives, which is to help people understand the Bible better and to raise money for Bible Society.
Okay.
It's pretty easily scalable because the more people that sign up to it, the more we print. So that's quite simple.
Yeah.
And it's sustainable as well. I think we talked a bit about how when you have different people in a role, sometimes some projects don't feel sustainable because someone who's in the role is really good at that one thing or really passionate about that thing. So they do it while they're in the role. But then when you have someone new come into the role, sometimes it doesn't transfer over so easily.
Yeah.
But Rooted does because like it the person that's going to take it has done it before, so they already know what they're doing. So that will be easy. But I just think it is something that you can pass on to several people, and as long as they have a few skills, they're able to edit the journal well. So that
Okay.
was mine.
Super.
Yeah.
Rachel.
Okay. So one of the things that I felt is that I don't really have a problem with the projects not being simple. It's more that I have too many.
Okay.
But yeah, so like for example, one of our projects we're working on at the moment is a prop workshop. Um, and that's quite simple. And we're creating a pack for each RTGO
Okay.
kits. And there will be, and we're creating the PowerPoint. And we've just been through the warehouse to see what we've got and things, so it's all very simple
Yeah.
and it's easy to repeat once you've created it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's yeah. I mean,
So in terms of just the number of products or the number of projects that you're working on, is there a way to simplify that, or is that?
Well, the way I simplify it is I just look at which ones I think are the priority for the year,
Yeah.
and the others just stay to be done in the future.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. Matt or Beth?
We kind of spoke about a similar level, I think, just more about the
Okay.
complexity of I suppose organization complexity and therefore project complexity, and
Okay.
also the amount of projects that we have to deal with, and the challenge of the most of the lack of clarity, to be honest,
Okay.
about what the focus should be, who the owner is, who the decision maker is, and yeah, and how do we make sure make it how do we make it sustainable, the amount of work that we have to do? So being more clear about what we do as an organization, and what our key principles are, what it is we want to deliver, rather than doing a massive amount of stuff. Let's concentrate and focus on what actually makes a difference. So that clarity, I think, is the word we focus on, wasn't it? And it was again, it was about understanding responsibility, decision making, and yeah, and what the focus should be.
Yeah. And I guess, Laura, you're probably better placed to come in then, to, I guess, not necessarily advise, but that's something that can be fed back, isn't it?
Yeah, so good. And I think that word focus,
Hmm.
it's really important that that's simple,
Yes.
that we have one simple focus. So I think focus comes under the simple banner. So how focused are we? And actually, you can do lots of different things and achieve lots of different things. And even a project might have a number of different byproducts to it. But you've got to think of it like a bullseye. What is the number one focus in this project? And that's what we're weighing it on. And how can I explain to somebody else? And that is the link between the two tools, is that creates vision, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For the why, which is just so important. I mean, I'm hearing that everywhere I'm going at the moment in different networking events with different sectors, is everybody wants to know the purpose, the why of what they're doing. Purpose is so important to people of every generation, which is really exciting because we're always talking about how many different generations are at work, but actually everybody wants purpose. So focus is so good. Focus is just
Totally agree.
incredibly important.
Beth, did you have anything to add or?
No, I think that was it. We had more of a general discussion
It was.
about
Yeah, fair enough.
projects run, how they could run, how we could make more progress. Yeah.
Super.
Great. Good. Are you ready for the next tool?
I am indeed.
Thanks for bearing with me. Yeah, I had a logistical issue then just to take care of very quickly. Okay, great. So you ready for the next Bible verse and the next mindset tool? So something slightly different now is that we're thinking about Joshua and we're thinking about the promised land. We're thinking about what God had promised. God had promised change for the Israelites. They had been a nomadic people. They'd been camping on the wrong side of the Jordan for a very, very long time, wandering in the desert for 40 years. So a lot of dissatisfaction, but there was vision. There was a land of milk and honey that had been talked about. But what was the natural next step for them? And in order to get to the natural next step, Joshua really needed to lean in to courageous thinking. He really needed to be strong and courageous. God says it to him over and over again in Joshua 1. Be strong and courageous because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. These people were the hard-hearted people, the people who were moaning and complaining and creating gods out of gold jewelry that they'd melted down. And there was so much resistance from these people. But Joshua was the one that God said, do this thing. So the focus might be simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it's easy. And you all know that. You all know that in your projects, in the work you're doing. Even if you've done the simplicity work, even if you've made it sustainable and scalable, it still might require courage and it still might be hard. Okay. My yoke is easy, my burden is light doesn't say that it's not going to require courage. Okay, so we still need to lean into that too. So, what does that look like for us? Well, this is a brilliant tool, the change equation. And it shows us that whenever we talk about change, we are talking about resistance to change. Straight away, something happens inside us that is a reaction to the word change. Nearly 3/4 of people, nurturers and guardians in particular, will feel resistant to change. You will have that sense of risk aversion. Okay. And even if you're a connector or a creative or a pioneer, you still might feel some resistance to change, especially if you have any trauma associated with change. My husband moved around houses all of his childhood. So there is a lot of resistance to ever moving house. We have never moved house the whole time we've been together, and that's been 15 years. And we think that that's right for now. But he's got a lot of resistance because of perhaps trauma, even though he's connected to trauma with moving houses, moving on, things not being completely right. So resistance is something to consider. How much resistance is there to change? And how are we going to overcome the resistance to change? So for Joshua, it was the people's hard hearts. It was from without from them, but it was also from within in terms of fear. That's why God kept saying to him, have courage. It's the fear from within. So dissatisfaction with the status quo. Okay, we've got to ask ourselves, how dissatisfied am I with the current situation? Sometimes I meet with people, like new companies, new individuals, to talk about culture change. And I dig and dig and dig, and it soon becomes clear they aren't really that dissatisfied. They're not ready. And I have to just go, okay, great, let me tell you what we do, but I don't try and think that this is going to move forward very quickly. Put it in your back pocket for when you feel dissatisfied enough, and that's when change occurs. Vision of the future. How good could it be? Okay, what could good look like? What could excellent look like? Are we actually spending time building out the vision? And then the natural next step as well. So what do we do? Claire, can you just talk us through those three?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I am far from a natural mathematician, as every single one of my poor maths teachers would attest to. But this is an equation that I can actually get excited about because it allows us to lead change intentionally. So quite simply, the change equation is D, your dissatisfaction with the status quo, times V, your vision for the future, times N, your next at your natural next steps, which all have to be greater than the R, which is the resistance being experienced. And what often happens is that people will feel dissatisfied, but they don't know what to do with that feeling. If you can identify that dissatisfaction and define it, then you can do something with it. And if you have high dissatisfaction and low vision, that's where hopelessness comes in. And hopelessness on its own will never lead to change. It just increases resistance. And you or the people you're leading have to believe that change is possible. And you need to look really carefully at that V, that vision of the future. If you can get that vision higher than the level of resistance, then that leads you along to the N, which is the natural next step of your vision. And Laura, I know you've got something else to add on that.
Yeah, good. I really like that. And thinking about it as the equation is really helpful because the multiplication tells us that if any of those qualities are 0, then we will not have what it takes to overcome resistance because anything times 0 is nothing, right? It's 0. So you might have an incredible vision of the future. You might have loads of dissatisfaction, but you might have absolutely no idea what to do to move towards the vision. It might be 0 for the natural next step, in which case there's no movement. You won't have what it takes to overcome the resistance. So the important thing here is to think about the change that you'd like to see either at work or at home or in your leadership or in your relationships. Think of the change you'd like to see. Can you quantify it? Can you build the vision? Can you think about why you want there to be change? What are the factors? Where's the pain? What pain is it causing? And then be thinking, okay, what is one thing I can do to move this forward? And that's what we always do every time we go on the calls in the core process. We're saying, what is my next step? And it's right here. This is why it's so important, is there is no movement without the natural next step, without vision. And Claire used the word hope. We have to have hope that things can change. What about the dissatisfaction as well? Have we talked to someone about how miserable we're feeling in the moment with the pain that we're experiencing? And if we can build those 3, then we can overcome the resistance. Okay, so you might want to put it into some maths. You might want to give it a value. So dissatisfaction out of 5. How dissatisfied are you? Vision of the future out of 5. How much vision do you have? Is it built? Is it clear? And then natural next step out of 4. Okay, do you have that very clearly? What do I do next? And then you get a quality out of 100 if you multiply them. And then you can think about the resistance. And we're going to think more about resistance next week and break it down into elements. Okay, so think about your project, put it through those 3 and have a think about which of those needs to grow. Really quickly in 1 minute, I'm going to give you my example. So over a year ago, we were dissatisfied with Laurie's school. Behaviour issues, academic progress, it just wasn't right. We just didn't feel happy. Vision of the future, he was in year 6, it was in year 5, but previous to that. And we started to think there are options for where he might go next. It's a middle school, but we could move him into another school for year 7. So we started to go and look around the local schools and we decided on a school that we'd really like him to go to. Natural next step was to go through the process. He had to do his 11 plus. We had to apply. And even when my natural next step failed because I didn't press submit on the form, which I found out on the day of the allocation that it hadn't actually gone through. Praise Claire helped me hand through the whole thing. Praise the Lord. I was able to talk to my prayer partner, who happens to be a local deputy head, who said, here's the process to appeal. Here's your next step. There's always another next step, even if you failed in the next step that you wish you'd taken. Think of driving. You wish you'd taken that junction or that turning. There's going to be another opportunity to put it right down the line. So don't be hard on yourselves here. Don't think of all the failures in the past, but think of what you can do in each of those 3 spaces to grow it out, to overcome the resistance. And there was a lot of resistance with the school move. Laurie didn't want to move initially. And also everything was familiar and there's a community around it, but it was so worth it. From day 1, Laurie would come home and say, I love it. I love Crypt. I love my new school. And that's why I had to nip out, was because he was performing at the local athletics stadium and I had to go and get him, drop him at his friend's house get changed to go and see the Matilda musical in Bristol. This is what this school is doing for him. So it's so worth the change. So I encourage you, if you've got vision for a change in your life, it will be hard, it will require courage, but do these three things. Get a friend around you, like I had Claire's support, and then you'll be able to do it. If you can see it, you can do it. As a famous song once had as a lyric. So I'm not going to sing it, don't worry. Okay, so I hope that's inspired you. Change is good. Change is good. And the equation helps us to break it into simple steps. So, any questions on the tool? Great. So, over to you in your breakouts to try to get yourself to a natural next step. So, the questions I went off too quickly. The questions were talk through your change equation scores. Which aspect, D, V, or N, needs a boost? And what is your next step? Which aspect needs a boost? So which one can you grow? If something's zero, that's your priority. What's your next step? What are you going to do to grow D, V, or N? And you can look at all three if you are able to today in order to be able to make the change possible. Okay, see you soon.
So, my mouse just temporarily went on strike then. Right, fabulous. We'll go the other way round. So Beth and Matt. Beth, there you go.
I'll
Well
go first now, so you go for it, Beth.
So we talked about the project system, which currently the projects we've put in are under review to see which ones will move forward and what the priority is.
Okay.
So we sort of talked about, at the moment, there's quite a lot of uncertainty because we put projects in and we don't get feedback as to, is it happening? Is it never happening? Is it happening but in a long time? So there's a lot of confusion around, what happens next. So we think the best next step is asking the right questions and to do that in a constructive way and just keep feeding information in, because it's not about just going, oh, what's happening to my projects and getting really annoyed. It's just trying to ask constructively, like, oh, what do I need to do for the next step to move this forward? Can you just give me a bit of communication about where this sits in the priority list? And I think we decided there wasn't much resistance because I think we all feel the same. So we all want the change, which is good.
Okay. That's really good. I mean, actually, just whilst you guys were in the breakout, Laura and I were talking about things that are going to be helpful to be, I hope it's right to say this, Laura, that are going to be fed back sort of as the leadership team move into their next phase of training as well, because obviously you guys have gone through so much over the last 12 months. And that is one of the things that I had a note has come up on more than one occasion in both of the groups. So yeah, that's definitely something that Laura can feed back through as well. And if there's anything else that you want to add to that list, pop it on an email if you feel like there's anything else that would be helpful. Matt, did you have anything to add, or is that?
No, that summarised it really well.
Super. Okay. Rachel?
Yeah, so I said that one of my biggest disappointments is we've had over 30 schools contact us since September who want teams, but
Okay.
we've only found teams for 6 of the schools.
Right.
So that's my disappointment. What was the middle bit? I forgot the middle.
So the
Vision. Yeah, so obviously my vision is that if a school comes to us, that straight away we can connect them up with teams.
Okay.
So what we're doing, and this is the bit we need to work on the most, we're having a look at how we can basically make contacts with churches and things, because how we do it doesn't work. So at the moment we ask a team, all the local teams, can you take on another school? And we reach out to the churches, but we rarely get any response. And I think we need to do it more through relationships. So we're in talking with the church engagement team and just looking at all the contacts we've got. And we'll probably be coming to other people in the Bible Society. Do you know anyone in any churches in these areas? So we can reach out through you, because so at least they've had it and they've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our next steps, but we need to develop that a bit more.
Okay,
Mm.
super. Abby?
I mean, I just cheated and used my previous one because it was my next steps. And I was like, yeah, agreeing with you, thinking, I don't know what you mean, but now I know what you mean. Yes, I was dissatisfied with the creative for the Bible course. So we are doing a new one. And we are, the vision of that is that it's better and good and it promotes what the Bible course actually is and makes people want to do it. So that's what I'm doing.
Super. Thank you. Noelle?
I used a church example because right now we're trying to decide about changes to our Sunday services. So we have two Sunday services in the morning on a Sunday, and they're back to back. And that means we're on a tight schedule. And that means, if worship goes over, then the preach has to get cut short, and the preachers don't like that. And then people think announcements are too long, and you have all this kind of thing. And um, so we're trying to think of solution. So that's the disappointment or the dissatisfaction, is that we don't have enough time for things. We wish our services could be longer, but they can't be because they're back to back in the morning, and we don't want them to run into lunch too much and all this. So there have been some suggestions, and this is where I think we need more help, is there doesn't always feel like a natural solution. So maybe if you're the only leader, then you have a natural solution and then you do that. But sometimes on a team, the natural solution to one person isn't the natural solution to another person. So some people think we should just go back to having one service and just have the room be more full. Some people think we should have the second service be in the evening, one in the morning. And so we've kind of talked it through. So I was just saying to Abby and Rachel that I don't always feel like there's a natural next step. But then Abby and Rachel were thankfully or kindly basically saying like sometimes maybe the natural next step isn't making a decision, but it's finding out more information about something. Like, could you ask your congregation what they want or what they think, which we actually haven't done yet, which is probably a really good idea. Or could you do you need to have a couple more conversations about this and whatnot until you come to a solution? So that was helpful for me to think about.
Yeah, and so I guess the natural next step, it doesn't have to be the right one right away. It could just be that you try something and see whether or not that works, and if it doesn't, then you go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Laura?
I love that. Yeah, it's so good. I think the key word I've written down there, listening to those feedback points, is vision. Grow the vision. If you grow the vision, you also grow the dissatisfaction because the bigger the vision, the further you are from it, which makes you feel more dissatisfied in where you are. So how do you grow the vision? Go and look at good practice. Where is this? So Abby, where has a really good pilot or marketing campaign that where is that? What went well? Do a wash up on a project you ran that went well or that you've seen somewhere else and you go, that works. Why? It doesn't even have to be in your sector. It could be in something completely different. And the same for you, Noelle. Like, what churches do you know? And there's loads online actually as well. Or have you got a friend that seems very happy with their service and their structure? Pick their brain. What does it look like? How do they get notices from 5 minutes to 1.5 minutes? Like, what looks good? Where can we go to get vision? So YouTube's full of lots of examples, and friends. So who might be a person to talk to that can help you move this thing forward? Prayer meetings. Prayer is a brilliant natural next step. I've got a field nearby, and that's where I have a lot of my best ideas because I walk a lap of it and I'm praying. So your next step might be a prayer meeting. It might be just a prayer time for yourself. So, like Claire said, the natural next step doesn't have to be the solution. It's just what's going to move this forward. What's one thing that's going to move this forward? And then it grows. And it's amazing how one natural next step leads to another and how it tips it over into actually doing the thing. Vision is a really dangerous thing to play with. Once you start, it's like right move. Once you start looking, suddenly things start to move. So enjoy that tool, have a play with it. Who else needs to know it? I thought of someone today, they need this tool in their life. Like, who needs it? Go and teach it. It's a great way to revise it. Well done. You're doing great. Claire, anything else to say before we sign off?
No, that's it. Well done, everybody.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
See you all.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.